Joe Biden tweeted this out today. So, folks, I know, he says, folks, I know these are tough times, but this crisis has made it clearer than ever how much elections matter and what a difference it makes who is in the White House. If you can, please chip in to fuel our campaign. I would really appreciate it. I retweeted. I said, folks, for instance, during the last financial crisis, Barack Obama and I kicked in 5.1 million families out of their homes while turning their homes over to the banks we just gave trillions of dollars to. I'd like that opportunity to do it again. I'm Joe Biden. Could there be a worse guy running at this particular moment? Even Hillary Clinton was a better candidate than Joe Biden because Hillary Clinton didn't have a direct hand in kicking people out of their houses during a depression. Joe Biden did. Can you believe that? So what do you, just let me throw it to you guys. Go ahead.
Well, I'm curious. Like, I'm actually sitting here with a glass of Flint water, and
it's fine.
Oh, it tastes great. It really tastes great. And so, I mean, I literally was just debating. I'm trying not to get mad anymore, but someone I went to high school with who was defending Joe Biden. Wow, Bernie built a big coalition, but it just wasn't big enough. And I'm just like, I don't even know how. And all I did was lay out the facts, and they're probably going to get mad. I don't. Joe Biden, 2 wars to 7, somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 6 million foreclosures, 0 banking regulation. We had a mortgage bubble before this pandemic, and now we had a car loan bubble. We had a student debt bubble. We had all of these things that were about to pop before a pandemic.
Commercial real estate bubble also, Graham. Commercial real estate bubble.
Yes. Which I think they knew and went, hey, we'll use this stimulus plan to buy up all the commercial real estate.
That's exactly right. That is exactly effing right. They're going to buy all up this commercial real estate at fire sale prices. So there's going to be more of a consolidation of corporate control over your life, Ron.
Well, I know that Joe Biden also put out a tweet where he said, hey, all you people on the left and people who supported Bernie and this and that, I hear you and I want to earn your vote. It's like, okay, you hear us. Well, we want a real Green New Deal. We want Medicare for all. We want to do something about wage inequality. We want to do something about ending the wars. And he goes, I've heard you. Medicare at 60. Message received. I've heard you.
All right, we're going to get to that fact here. Here we go. Here that is. This is from Greg Sargent. Oh, boy. I know his cousin, Bobby Corporal. Anyway, the Joe Biden campaign is set to make the first big overture to Bernie Sanders. This is what Ron was just referring to. Biden will roll out he's going to make an overture to Bernie Sanders voters. So now who are Bernie Sanders voters? They're people who are 45 and under. That's who Bernie Sanders voters are for the most part. So Biden, to reach out to the millennials, Biden proposes lowering Medicaid age to 60. What the fuck is that? How does that get Bernie Sanders voters? Here, I'll give something to your parents. No! They already had it easier. We're the ones who are fucked. And then he also offers to forgive student debt for low and middle income borrowers. Lots of news. So that's not you. That's not going to include you, whoever that is. That's not going to include you. And there
should be a ton more asterisks there.
Yeah,
that's just asterisk.
Well, it should just come with this GIF. It should just come with this GIF. And that's the Democratic platform. She just laughs about it. She reads it and laughs about it. Aaron Matei, he made a great point. He said, anything that doesn't establish Medicare for all is, in fact, an overture to the insurance industry, not Bernie voters. How low can Joe go? That is exactly correct. That is not an overture to Bernie voters. That's an overture to the healthcare industry. Let me throw it back to our panel.
Well, that's what when you watch the debates this last 9 months or so, almost a year of debates we had to watch, it was every time like the fake progressive Liz Warren would say something about we're going to get Medicare for all, but I don't want to take people's insurance. I'm going to give them an option. They would always, that was a little wink. That was a little nod to the health insurance company to just say, don't worry, I got you squared away. Like when Warren said, I'm going to green up the military. That's telling the military industrial complex. No, let's tell like, don't worry, everybody. The bombings will keep going. The rockets are going to be powered by biodiesel.
Yeah.
Rest easy.
Well, the other big buzzword was choice. You heard that thrown around a lot when Pete Buttigieg was like, I trust Americans to make their choice when it comes to healthcare. And, they would all say that. Joe Biden would say, I want to give people the choice. We'll have a public option. That was code for insurance industry. We got you. You're going to be okay if we're in the White House.
So here's another. So I also saw this. Never Biden equals there's a blue check donut on Twitter. Hey, how did they get the nickname donuts, by the way? What does that mean?
Because when they shut Nina Turner and all of the people that were with her out of the convention hall and she was supposed to speak, to appease her and everybody else, they offered them donuts. And Nina Turner said, I don't want your freaking donuts, and sent them away. So, now whenever someone has a donut emoji, unironically on their Twitter, they're mocking a black woman who was prohibited from speaking. Friendly reminder.
Wow. So this blue check donut says never Biden equals a vote for Trump. I'm voting Green Party equals a vote for Trump. Right in Bernie equals a vote for Trump. I'll stay home equals a vote for Trump. If you're a Trump voter, own it, but don't dress it up as a protest. So what I said, weird, but somehow Nancy Pelosi passing Trump's entire legislative agenda, including money for a border wall, Schumer fast-tracking his judges, giving him an extra $131 billion for war and $4.2 trillion slush fund, and running a demented Wall Street puppet against him is somehow not voting for Trump. I will be right back. Let me throw it over to our panel. Go ahead. Take it from there.
Well, if that guy wanted to be consistent in even his own logic, I mean, just a poll released today shows that Biden can't beat Trump and Bernie could have. So why doesn't he also add a vote for Biden in the primary equals a vote for Trump? That's in line with his logic.
I'm with you.
It's so funny to me. To me, this is like, let's cover our bases for when Biden gets crushed by Trump. To start the blaming on everybody. They're already looking to blame us. They have made no effort to get any of us to vote for them. They were the thing that I tell people, I go, Graham, you're helping Trump. I'm an independent. I voted as an independent 4 years ago, but my provisional ballot was purged more than likely in the state of California. I registered with the Democratic Party this time. And of course they still cheated in California because Bernie is just the furthest left of any mainstream candidate that I've ever seen in my lifetime. No one has been this left of anyone that had a legitimate shot, right? Kucinich dropped out. I mean, this is the closest they get. And so their refusal of the Democratic Party to acknowledge progressives, and they never move. We always have to take their table scraps. They will never concede a fucking thing. And the Democratic Party can never be changed. It is literally, Jimmy, you and I were talking about this on the phone. It's like joining a drug cartel and thinking, I'm going to get them to stop selling drugs and cocaine, and instead they're going to start selling baby formula. I know I can do that from within.
Here is what it's like to be a progressive inside the Democratic Party. You end up basically doing things like this. Yes, I had to vote to put everybody in prison, but I got you a water fountain inside that prison Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's the equivalent to what it's. So there's no point. I do not mean to disparage people whose heart is in the right place. My good friends Cenk Uygur and Kyle Kalinske started the Justice Democrats. It was a great idea, primary corporate Democrats, because the issues are all on our side. Didn't matter. AOC got in and she immediately bent the knee, and every single one of them went along with this unbelievable fleecing of America. So they all right after they just got done voting to expand the security state. And so Norman Solomon said back then, if they're going to go and vote for the security state, what's the point of voting for them in the first place? And now it's double what's the point. There's no point. In fact, so we're going to get to that in a second. There's more to that. But let me just get through this. Here's what Scott Menner says. He says, nominating Biden equals re-electing Trump. You ever think of that? How about voter shaming didn't work in 2016 and it won't work now? Just hope your elderly party loyalists remember to bring along their brunch friends. That's all your party has left. Dems made it perfectly clear that progressives, absolutely, their ideas are not welcome. What does ABS stand for? That progressives, ABS? I don't know.
I'm guessing absolutely.
I'm not voting for Biden and I'm not voting for Trump. I have a cat. I already spent enough time checking a box for a piece of shit. Bam!
It's true.
8,000 likes. What did that finally end up with? How many likes, Ron?
I think it's at about 17 now. So yeah, it did okay.
Nice.
Here's Greg Sargent. He's back to Greg Sargent. Here's an interesting take from a progressive economist, Josh Bivens, on a deeper meaning of these Biden proposals. It's a bit different from what some segments of the Bernie Twitter says. So here, I'll just read it to you really quick. Both of these ideas represent really welcome U-turns from what was damaging conventional wisdom, even in big swaths of the Democratic Party for years. The two things being lower Medicare and student debt. Medicare, for example, has too often been treated first and foremost as a budget problem to be shrunk rather than a valuable social insurance to be expanded. So the debate often included proposals to ratchet up the eligibility age. The fact that this proposal turns 180 degrees and lowers this age of eligibility is huge. That's according to this. What on student debt, the proposal seems to me an acknowledgement that typical workers' failures to see labor market success, especially rising wages, in recent decades is not because they didn't try hard enough to get the right skills and credentials. They did try hard to get these, including taking on risky debt. But labor market success, it turns out, isn't just about individual skills. It's also about institutions and policy and power. And until you make these work for typical workers, not much will be fixed. So in a sense, then, these moves represent steps towards a real concession to a very different understanding of political economy than the one that has animated Democratic politicians like Biden for decades. I say to that, there's a little bit of merit to that. But it's 80% bullshit. So they're going overboard to applaud not even a half measure because it's a move in the right direction. That's like saying your house is on fire. I'm going to take this one match away. That didn't do anything. Our house is still on fire, but according to the Washington Post and the establishment, this is a great win for us. Well, what do you say?
I say it's kind of like they're acknowledging that they were wrong, but they don't plan on doing anything right. like on the first one, they're just for years, this thing Medicare, we thought, how can we take this away from more people? How can we make sure less people have this? And then we thought, maybe we'll expend it to another more if you'll shut the hell up. And then, like on the student loan debt thing, for years we thought it was cool that a bunch of these predatory companies were taking advantage of generations of people trying to get a higher education. And we've decided, that kind of screws them over a lot. And that gives us a frowny face. Maybe we'll do something someday. There's your concessions. Come over to us, Bernie people.
So here's another nihilist and a sports fan says the first point still locks out the bulk of Bernie's base. Forgiving student debt is good. I just don't trust the father of the bankruptcy bill to follow through on that promise. And then Greg Sargent says also includes a public option. Again, I don't trust them to do it. And he also says, here's the thinking in Bernie's camp. Senior Sanders advisors tell us talks have been ongoing with an eye towards making unification smoother than 2016. They believe the Biden camp is operating with good intent and will give them space to do this. I really don't give a shit how smooth your transition to backing the problem comes. I hope it's bumpy. The Biden campaign understands that they'll have to work towards reaching out to progressives and building bridges to unity, the senior Sanders advisor told us. We think they're operating with good intent. What is the point? The Sanders advisor told us that they expect the Biden campaign to roll out these efforts in stages, and that the Sanders team wants to create room for the Biden camp to prove its good intentions in this regard. We'll give them space to make their best case, the Sanders advisor told us, characterizing the Sanders team's view of the situation. Sorry, Greg, but Bernie supporters and independents aren't beholden to the campaign staffers. I'm a cancer patient who sees through the bullshit of Joe Biden and his policies that doesn't address the fact that our system is fundamentally broken. Biden is captured by lobbyists. And then underneath that, how does the system get less broken if you refuse to support Biden? I don't understand these arguments. Biden is objectively less awful than Trump on policy issues. What do you say to that?
Lesser of two evils. It's my favorite thing. It is literally, it's like saying, honey, it's date night. We need a sitter for the kids. There's only two babysitters to choose from, a pedophile and a meth head. And I think most of your viewers will probably go meth head because the kids will have activities and twitch around and it'll be fun. It's just preposterous, and this insanity that I hear from neoliberals, it is literally insane. Now they're thinking they're getting away with it because large portions of us progressives have acquiesced, and I think they're banking on the roughly 75% of Bernie supporters voted for Hillary last time. I don't think they understand that this time it's going to be probably less than 20%. I don't know any Bernie supporters that are like going to vote for Joe Biden. I have heard nobody say that. And I was actually just talking to somebody who was working on Bernie's campaign and canvassed for him in numerous states. And she said, I saw no Biden infrastructure in South Carolina, in Michigan. There was no Biden presence. And yet he seemed to inexplicably overcome double-digit Bernie victory exit polls. And I don't think they realized the big Biden groundswell was all through rigging and cheating. And there is no Biden groundswell. Actually, Hillary inspired more people than Biden just with the I'm with her first female president. What's Biden? The first guy with dementia? No, Reagan was that guy. The first rapist? Most of them have been rapists. First guy that bombed a bunch of countries? What's he got?
I got that covered too.
Yeah, what's he got?
So this is to me, this is like because the Republican base, they got Trump and they love him. They love him. It's as if we got Cornel West. So if we had Cornel West as our nominee or as our president, and it would be like if Cornel West got to run against I don't know, let's say Bob Dole. Right. And then Cornel West won. He's president. And then they run Jeb Bush against Cornel West. That's what the Democrats are doing the equivalent of. The Democrats, they first run Bob Dole. Now they're going to run Jeb Bush. But first they ran Hillary Clinton. Now they're going to run a demented guy who's worse than Hillary. It's unbelievable. And again, they don't care. And that's what the people have to understand. They don't care that if Trump wins. They stopped Bernie. And Bernie pretty much went along with it, which is crazy. You know, my theory here is that the reason why Bernie frustrates his supporters like us incredibly at every turn, at no point during this campaign did he give me reason to jump off my couch and cheer. At no point. Like in 2016 when he said to Lloyd Blankfein, says I'm dangerous to Wall Street, and he's right, I am dangerous. Ah! At no point did we have that moment every time he opened his mouth, he bent the knee to the party. Every time he opened his mouth, he said, Joe Biden is a friend of mine. Joe Biden is a decent guy, and he can beat Donald Trump. And that, to me, that's all primary Democratic voters wanted to know. And as soon as they knew that, it was over. Bernie had just forfeited the campaign. And so if you understand his overarching goal is to make sure, as he told Chris Hedges, I don't want to end up like Ralph Nader. That's actually he cares more about that than becoming president, which if you look at it through that lens, it informs every decision he makes. Every decision he makes sense, including the way he dropped out, which was, I couldn't even have imagined a weaker way to drop out than this. if either stay in or get out. Now he's staying in. So what this actually does is he's going to stay on the ballot while telling his supporters, I'm not campaigning, we already lost. So it's going to suppress his own support and vote. So he's going to get even less votes. So when he goes to the convention, he's going to look even less popular than he actually is. So he's going to have less influence than he actually should. It doesn't matter anyway, because he'll never use the power or influence he has. He'll never threaten to use the power of his movement to embarrass even the Democratic establishment. He'll never do it. So it doesn't matter. But so let me just throw it to you and get your opinion on how he dropped out.
Yeah, I mean, it was, the way that Graham and I described it earlier this week, it's like the equivalent of punting the football on third down when, it's a game time drive and, you can still catch up. And by the way, the scorekeeper must have been drunk or something, because you don't even know how many points you actually have yet. Because, by the way, some of the delegates weren't even awarded yet. And they were all from states Bernie won, which I'm sure was just a coincidence. So, yeah, I mean, it's just it was disappointing, an understatement for what that was this week.
Yeah, I mean, Ron and I talked about it on his show. I talked about it. Jimmy, you and I talked about it on the phone. I really think I'm really beginning to see that nothing Bernie did was actually out of the order. I mean, this is what his behavior has been. It really seems to me that this is his job. And maybe he doesn't want to be, he doesn't want to be Ralph Nader, but he doesn't want to be a leader. I mean, great moments are born out of great opportunity. Crisis doesn't create character, it reveals it. And this is the moment. This was the moment we all watched, and Ron and I live streamed on March 15th. That was the debate. We had to cancel our Florida tour. Everything was getting shut down. The stay-at-home orders were starting to fall. The sports leagues had shut down. And we all went, this is the thing that we were this is Bernie now at this moment. And he's going to show Joe Biden for who he is. Joe Biden's not capable of leading. He even could have pointed out Joe Biden's dementia in a nice, kind way. Could have said, Joe, I got a lot of respect for you, but you're mentally not there anymore. And it's not safe. If this ever happens to me, I hope people around me do that. Like, there's so many ways he could have done that. He could have come out swinging. He threw a couple of little jabs. He had some moments in the debates where it's like, oh, I wrote the damn bill, but none of those stand up and slam dunk cheer moments like you had, like you were talking about Jimmy 4 years ago. And this was just, to me, it almost seems like everyone's so perplexed. Why would he do this? I'll tell you why. His job, and I don't think it's some deep state ploy, but they know how Bernie's not going to, he will play ball. So they let him talk. They let him get these donors and everything, knowing full well that they'll nosedive his campaign and he'll say nothing. His job was to collect all of the people on the left, rally them, and
make sure there was no third party, and make sure that didn't happen. And that definitely was his job. Now, whether he knew that was his job or not is another story, but they knew that was his job.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Yes.
gentlemen,
They
I want to
gave him
weigh
that
in
job.
really quickly. I just want to say that, yes, I watched that March 15th debate. Totally, he did not step up to bat on that day to really make the case. But I also want to just remind everybody, remember the video that he made with billionaires that were running for president?
Yeah, I do.
He did a video with Steyer and Bloomberg with the money. Didn't they all have to pay $150,000 so they could show that they're unified with the DNC, who's going to later screw us? And so that continued demonstration of, I'm a team player, and we all keep going, well, maybe he'll go third party. He's never going to go third party. He showed us time and time again.
Well, I think the biggest moment in that debate too was when, like, he had to really distance himself from the statement, oh, I think Joe Biden could beat Trump. And at the end, he had a moment to do that. And, if you guys recall, he basically just said, Joe, I'm not sure if I'm confident that you have what it takes to win. And it's like, that's it? You got to go a little harder than that, man. You got to be a little more assertive.
hey, this is the part where I tell you where our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then I would tell you to go join our premium, but nobody has a fucking job. So why don't you just enjoy the video?